Good morning. We'll call this meeting to order. Council is conducting this meeting in person and via conference call in accordance with the Municipal Government Act, Section 199. Council chambers is now open for public attendance in person. However, members may still join meetings remotely using our current teleconference process. The chair may ask for comments and concerns from the public relating to a particular topic, and at this time, phone lines will be unmuted. If you wish to speak, please state your name. We only ask one member of the public to speak at a time. All persons will be allotted a maximum of 10 minutes to speak as per a procedural bylaw. We ask that if the meeting recesses, that any callers hang up and call back as the meeting reconvenes. This will help with call quality. Please note that this call is being recorded and may be uploaded to our website and or social media. To eliminate background noise, please mute your phone during the meeting. Everyone has a right to be present at council meetings and council committee meetings. Any attendees that are considered disrupted to the progression of this meeting may be removed at the discretion of the chair as per the Municipal Government Act, Section 198. We thank you for your cooperation and understanding. So there is an agenda before council. Are there any additions or changes requested by council? Administration has one addition, the nomination of the chair and vice chair to the Public Presentation Committee. Would it be possible to get a motion from council to approve the agenda as amended?
Also move.
Councillor Preece has moved. Call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Now we'll move on to 1.3, voting procedure. So council has circulated the voting procedure, a paper copy of it. So a motion is required to approve the voting procedure for a secret ballot, and that is listed in the Municipal Government Act. So we're looking for a motion just on that. We'll open it up to debate. Thank you. That motion. Councillor Kester has made that motion. So the motion would be that council approve the following secret ballot procedures during the organizational meeting. Should there be more than one nomination for a position, a secret ballot would be taken with the candidate receiving the majority of the votes declared successful for that position, the majority being 4 or more votes. In the case of a clear majority is not successful in the first vote, then the voting would continue on first and second choice only, and third and subsequent parties would be eliminated. This process would continue until a clear majority is successful. So that motion has been made by Councillor Kester. In a debate? Okay, we'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Okay, so we'll move to 1.4, nomination of Reeve. So with this section and any other nominations today, self-nomination and nomination by someone else is accepted. So I'll call, and we'll do 3 calls for all boards and positions. So I'll do first call for nomination of Reeve. Councillor Clausen.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Link.
Okay. Councillor Link, will you let your name stand for Reeve?
Yes.
Okay. Second call for nominations. Third call for nominations. Okay, nominations are closed. So Reeve Link is Councillor Link is the Reeve for the upcoming year. There is an oath of office. I will get you to read and sign.
I, Amber Link of Wheatland County in the province of Alberta, do swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law and the office of Reeve. So help me God. Thank you. We'll move on to 1.5, nomination for Deputy Reeve.
I'll nominate Councillor Clausen.
Call a second time for nominations. Call a third time for nominations. Hearing no other nominations, nominations will cease. Deputy Reeve, Scott Clausen, thank you.
I do accept.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, do you accept? That's what it is.
Thank you very much. I, Scott Clausen of Wheatland County in the province of Alberta, do swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of Deputy Reeve, so help me God. Thank you very much.
So in the past, we have just sort of reaffirmed our code of conduct. So that was circulated in the organizational meeting agenda package. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the code of conduct? And then we do have, I believe administration has a councillor code of conduct agreement just to reaffirm the code of conduct. Do you want that on paper, or do you just want like a motion, a resolution to?
So the reason why this is included is because in the bylaw itself, the council code of conduct bylaw, it says that all council will review it once annually at the organizational meeting. There is a piece of paper in there for council to sign. If council chooses not to sign it, that's okay. It's part of the bylaw anyways. So.
Okay. And would you like a motion as well?
No motions required.
Okay.
Sorry, traditionally, I believe we've all signed it.
Yeah. So we can just sign it and provide it to administration. We will move to 1.7, legislative policies review. I think that's just in there for information.
Yes, that's correct.
So no action required?
No.
Okay. We can move to 2.1. Administration has provided a draft calendar. Typically, we approve this at each organizational meeting. Does anybody have any questions or changes they would like to request? Yeah, I think once it's approved, administration could provide a paper copy. That would be great. If there's no request for changes, could we have a motion to approve the Wheatland County meeting / event calendar for 2023 as presented?
I'll so move.
Councillor Eichert has moved. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to 2.2, annual general meeting. Administration has provided the history of where AGMs have been held since 2015. And there's a recommendation that the next AGM would be scheduled for June of next year at a location to be determined in Division 1. Basically just following that cycle of moving through each division. Council's wishes?
I'll move that Council direct administration to schedule an annual general meeting in June of 2023 to be held at a location in Division 1.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Under 2.3, we have the appointment of signing authorities. Council's wishes.
Make the motion approval to appoint the following as the signing authorities for Wheatland County: Reeve, Link, and Deputy Reeve Clausen, CAO, Chief Administrative Officer, General Manager of Corporate and Financial Services, Manager of Financial Services.
Questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. There's also an RFD regarding audit services with a recommendation.
I'll make the motion that council appoint MNP LLP as the financial statement auditor for the 2022 fiscal year.
Any questions or discussion? Oh, yes, Councillor Custer.
See, this would make it it would make it a 1-year extension to the current contract if we get it this year.
Through the Reeve, no. So the fixed contract ended at the effective December 31st, 2021 for that audit period. So this would be the first year of the 2-year optional extension. Administration is very happy with the services that MNP provides. I guess this would start the optional 2-year extension of that audit.
So it's going to be a 2-year extension.
It may be just for legislative purposes that we have to appoint an auditor just annually.
Okay, so I'm just curious if there would be, after the 2 years, if you choose to do that, are you going to go for hand out an expression of interest or?
Yeah, so we would, just under a procurement policy, I believe the threshold limit is $25,000 for goods and services. So this would be $30,000. So we would send out an RFP for any potential interested vendors in the audit service.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to 2.4. Administration has provided a working copy of the boards and committees that we currently have members appointed to. We can just work our way basically from the top to the bottom. I think that's been the process in the past. If we could have a motion, well, I guess we can start with Ag Services Board. Last year we had all of council sit, and then I believe we appointed 2 members at large. I don't know if anybody has any feedback on how that worked, if it worked well. We do have some discretion within the ASB bylaw. We have tried different models. I think the year before that we had 6 councillors with 3 members at large appointed. Historically, it typically was all of council, I believe. We just tried that. There were some challenges with that. I think Deputy Reeve Clausen, you did not sit on ASB for a year. You had a specific member at large from your division.
I had some interest from members at large that had way more experience than I did, so I stepped aside. I think it was for 2 years.
It might have been
I
2
believe
years,
so.
yeah.
And I think member Bickard
Right.
as well. So, but yeah, I'm back and it's fine. If there's an expression of interest from somebody else in my division, of course I would try to accommodate them either by myself vacating or maybe adding a member. So.
Council's wishes.
Do we need a motion?
I think we should have a motion.
Council should decide whether or not they're going to send all members of council or just a select number of council. So council could elect to send all 7, 6, 5, as long as there is enough members at large at the ASB meeting that it would make it an odd number for voting purposes and as per the ASB bylaw.
I'll move that Wheatland County Agricultural Service Board, that we send all council members. And
Maybe just accept a friendly amendment just to appoint all of council to the ASB.
Yeah.
Or all of council members to the ASB.
Yep.
Members at large, is that what it's saying?
And 2 members at large. Oh, there it is right there. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we would do the 2 members at large at the ASB meeting is typically, and we may have members that are midterm on their appointment.
Yeah, so council should appoint all of council, and then I believe it's up to the ASB board to do that, but realistically there would be no changes to that ASB board because I think the term members are still on there.
All right. There's a motion on the floor. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. And then the 2 subcommittees will be appointed at the first ASB meeting, or at the ASB organizational meeting. We have Alberta Care, and administration has provided some information on each of the committees. Thank you to all the standing members the councillors who served on committees that provided background information. Alberta Care is on page 38. So just as CAO Henderson said, you can either self-appoint if you have sat on it previously and you have an interest, or if you have a new interest in sitting on it, please identify, or if you would like to nominate somebody.
I would like to stay on this. I am also the representative for the division of the area, and there is a meeting coming up in December that I'm booked in, but it is a democratic process.
Is anybody else interested in Alberta Care? Call for nominations a 3rd time. Anybody interested? And we should probably have a motion for each appointment.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll move approval that Wheatland County representation to Alberta Care consist of Deputy Reeve Scott Clausen for the 2022-2023 term.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to Canadian Badlands. There was a note that this organization is currently winding up. So this likely would not be a long-term appointment. Councillor Baker?
Yes, as you all know, it's been dissolved. The papers are not back from the auditors yet, so there'll be just the signing of that, and then it'll be done. So this should be the last year, for sure, on having someone appointed to the board. And I have signing authority, so I'd like to finish this off.
Council's wishes, or is anybody else interested in Canadian Badlands? I'll call a 3rd time. Is anyone interested in Canadian Badlands? Or like to nominate somebody else? Hearing no others, Councillor Vigor is acclaimed. Council's wishes, if we could have a motion appointing her.
I'll move that council nominate Councillor Bigger to the Canadian Badlands.
Any questions or discussion?
Just through the Reeve, instead of the word nominate, could council just
Appoint.
Appoint,
yes,
sorry.
just use the word appoint.
I'll move that we appoint.
Any questions or discussion? Thank you, CAO Henderson. All in favor? Motion is carried. Let's move to Central Zone District 2. I am interested in continuing to serve. It's typically mayors and reeves of the member organizations. Anybody else interested in serving on Central Zone District 2? I'll call a third time. Is anyone interested or want to nominate somebody for District 2? By acclamation, I will sit. Council's wishes.
I'll move approval that Wheatland County representation to District 2 Central RMA consist of the following for the 2022-23 term: Reeve Link. Oh, and are we doing an alternate?
Typically, I do ask Deputy Reeve Clausen if we need an alternate. I guess we could open nominations
Sorry, I could
for...
continue.
I don't know. Let me just look. I don't know if we technically need an alternate. When I'm unavailable, through our procedure bylaw.
By default, I do.
Yeah, Deputy Reeve Clausen would often step in. I don't know if CAO Henderson has any. It would probably be best for clarity.
For clarity purposes, it probably would be wise to make a motion appointing
Yeah, that would
Link
be
as
the cleanest.
The cleanest, and then, however, also do
A second
understanding
motion.
a second motion or include in the same motion for alternates on the board. However, council just needs to undertake that process of understanding who wants to be an alternate and go from there.
So we'll do two motions. So there's a motion on the floor.
And then I guess I should say further approval for the Reeve to attend the Mayors and Reeves meetings. That's what it has on it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Following what's written. I'm just...
Any questions or discussion? Yes.
Mayor's Reeves meeting, are these the directors' meetings?
Yeah, they kind of go
I've never
between
seen the
two.
term Mayor's Reeves before. It's always been directors. So
Yeah, their RMA had said that they may stick with directors. There's some confusion because we have board of directors meetings for RMA, and this is separate for District 2. It would be at the discretion of the district. Same thing though, no, it's not an additional meeting, or typically just precedes the district meeting. Review of, it's a good opportunity to discuss what resolutions are coming forward. If there's redundancy, it's in advance enough that municipalities can coordinate on drafting resolutions and that type of thing. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Move to Community Futures Wild Rose.
Well, did you want to do the
Oh, yes,
deputy
alternate.
then?
Thank you. Yes. Is anyone interested in serving as alternate for South Central Zone RMA District 2?
I have to say myself. Yes, I'd be interested.
Is anyone else interested? I'll call a third time. Is anyone else interested? Council's wishes.
I'll stumble my way through it again.
Thank you.
I move approval that Wheatland County representation to District 2 Central RMA consists of an alternate of Deputy Reeve Clausen, and further approval for the Deputy Reeve to attend Mayors and Reeves meetings in place of the Reeve.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to Community Futures Wild Rose. Oh, just before we move on, just for administration, RMA did change the name of District 2 to South Central. If we could just update that in our records. Community Futures Wild Rose, there's a description on page 41 of the organizational meeting package. I would put my name forward. I would like to continue serving on this board. Is anyone else interested in serving on Community Futures? I'll call a third time. Is anyone else interested in serving on Community Futures? Through acclamation, council could make an appointment.
I'll make the motion that Wheatland County representation to the Community Futures Wild Rose consists of the following. Reeve Link for the 2022-2023 term.
And then if we could also make a motion for an alternate on this as well. I believe it was Councillor Bigger last year. I do have a sheet with those. Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes, there's a motion on the floor. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you for the teamwork, everybody. Perhaps now consideration for an alternate. And it was Councillor Bigger last year.
If there's no other interest, I'll let my name stand.
Is anybody else interested? I'll call a third time. Is anyone else interested? Through acclamation, council could make an appointment.
I'll move that Wheatland County representation or alternate representation to the Community Futures Wild Rose consist of Councillor Bigger for the 2022-23 term.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to Drumheller and District Solid Waste Management Association. The background information is on page 42.
Good on that.
You're currently serving.
Correct.
Perfect. Is anyone else interested in serving on Drumheller and District Solid Waste? I'll call a third time. Is anyone else interested in serving on Drumheller and District Solid Waste? For acclamation, we can make an appointment.
I'll move the approval that Wheatland County representative to the Drumheller and District Health Waste Management Association consists of the following councillor for the term of 2020-23, and that would be Councillor Larson.
Any questions or discussion?
Councillor Bigger said the word health in there, and there's no health in it.
Drumheller and District Solid Waste Management Association.
Thank you.
That would be a highly unusual,
Wouldn't it?
Could be done.
Waste.
like, fusion for the board.
Work your miracles there.
New mandate.
I do have one question, and I did try and look it up. Bi-monthly, is that twice a month or every 2 months? I saw it defined both ways.
The Drumheller and District Solid Waste Management Association meets every other month, and the executive meets in the months in between.
Perfect.
So there's monthly meetings.
Awesome.
And was there an alternate last year?
Yeah, I believe there was. So we'll vote on this one first, so Scott doesn't have to help me out again. But then, yes, we should. It's good for you to have an alternate.
Yeah.
Any other questions or discussion? Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Who would like to serve as alternate? I think, Scott, you were, right?
Yeah, I could let my name, I believe I was alternate last year, but I could do it as well. It's just a fair trek out there, and meetings are usually on Fridays, I think, so it's kind of hard to get to, but I can do it if I need to.
Now, will it create any potential conflict with SEWA?
No, there's some things coming up in the future, and I think it might be good to both, but I'm not
Okay.
the
It's your
frontline person. No, that's be fine.
Okay. Any other questions or anybody else interested in serving as alternate? Call a third time. Anybody else interested in serving as alternate? By acclamation, council could appoint Deputy Reeve Clausen as alternate.
Any motion for that?
Yeah.
I'll move that council appoint Councillor Clausen as alternate on the Drumheller and District Solid Waste Management.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried.
Big correction, I just don't take it well.
Not kidding.
Holds a bit of a grudge.
We'll move to emergency management on page 43. I do sit on this. It's typically one meeting a year. It is a legislative requirement, and I'm happy to continue sitting. Is anyone else interested in sitting on emergency management committee?
I'd sit on that too.
I'll call a third time if anyone else is interested in sitting or nominating somebody for the Emergency Management Committee.
So we're having, this is one that we have two people sit on? Reeve and one councillor.
Oh, right.
Yes, so the Reeve would be required as per the bylaw, and then just the nominations for the additional councillor.
And I was at the last meeting that we had not long ago.
I would also nominate Deputy Reeve Scott Clausen, just because in my absence it might be good, because there may be emergency management situations where there may be like communication requirements, and if I'm not available, it may be helpful to have Deputy Reeve Clausen. They do a not a thorough review, but a review of, at the last meeting, the regional emergency management plan and that type of thing. So that's my rationale. So I'm sorry, but we would have to go to a ballot. I'm sorry.
Or is he automatically?
If you accept, because I'm nominating you.
Yeah, but if you're not there, I automatically have to assume that role. So I guess
Probably not if we have two, because we don't appoint alternates. Like you would in an emergency, but not at the committee meeting, if that makes sense.
So my general understanding would be if a councillor was unable to attend, including the Reeve, then the Deputy Reeve would go in the Reeve's absence. So that would just be my general understanding. As per, I think it's a procedural bylaw, in absence of the Reeve, the Deputy Reeve would kind of take that one, especially if it's done by bylaw.
But if there is discussions there about, if it hits the fan, what to do, then I would go to these meetings.
Well, and that's what I was suggesting, that it might be good for myself and Deputy Reeve Clausen just to sit on the committee. It's only once a year. You could review it outside of that meeting, but to me it would make sense for you to review it there. There is also always the chance that if both of us are not available, that then council would need to delegate like communications to somebody else.
Should we not have the two and then another councillor as well? Would that be the fairest way to do it? I don't know.
Change it so that.
Yeah, this is within our bylaw.
Deputy Reeve, can we just change that?
We also could, like the other, because we're having regional ones, we could look at the bylaw and just appoint one person and an alternate. But that would require a bylaw change, right?
Yes, with 3 distinct readings.
The only reason I reference that is because now we are meeting like also with the town and the 3 villages. And I think at the regional emergency management meeting, the 2 villages had mayors and the town had a councillor, but I think they only had sent one person. We can do it how it is right now, and then we could look at changing the bylaw after if it makes sense. Could be a discussion with the town and the villages to see if they would rather have 2 elected officials at that yearly meeting, or if they would prefer just have one alternate. We could sort of align with the partners in the regional emergency management plan. I'm easy. It's not a huge thing. I just thought if Deputy Reeve Clausen hears the information at the committee meeting.
Well, my feeling is if there's information there that is needed during something that I have to step forward and take the role, then I should have that information available to me like everybody else. So, however I get that. I mean, I can just attend for information purposes, or I can sit there. It's one meeting a year, so
So you would let your name stand as the second?
sure. Yeah.
Okay. So we do have 3 people interested, so we could go to utilize our secret ballot. And then if we want to review this later, we could, but it would probably be better for us to have that discussion like with the REMP, and then for administration to bring a recommendation forward if it makes sense to amend. Thank you, Shanna.
Yes, and just to note, because the bylaw specifically notes that the Reeve must attend, so the vote would either be between Deputy Reeve Clausen or Councillor Larson. So council just needs to pick one of those people, and we'll collect the ballots and count them and give the results as soon as they're completed.
We need RMA to send some background music. They always have the best themed music for the resolutions.
Okay, so Deputy Reeve Clausen had the majority of votes for that board. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Based on that, council could make a resolution.
Where are we at? I'll move the approval that Wheatland County Representative to the Emergency Management Committee consists of the following for 2022-23 term. That's Scott Clausen. Councillor Clausen.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Next on our list of committees, we have IDPs, but I believe we have that under agenda item 2.5. So let's move to Marigold Library. I have served on Marigold Library, and I am happy to let my name stand. Is anyone else interested in serving on Marigold Library Board? I'll call a third time. Is anyone else interested in serving on Marigold Library Board? Through acclamation, council could appoint.
I move approval that Wheatland County representation to the Marigold Library Committee consist of Reeve Link for the 2022-23 term.
And just one note, just on sort of that information sheet, under number of meetings held other than board meetings, if we could take the 4 times per year out, there's just the 4 board meetings per year, not 4 additional meetings, just above subcommittees. Any questions or discussion on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried.
I believe you had an alternate.
Yes, thank you. Councillor Bigger, you sat as alternate, I think, last year. Oh, no, Councillor LaPriest.
If you'd like to, I'm happy to.
I just remembered incorrectly.
Sure, I will.
You will. Does anyone else like to, Councillor LaPriest, did you want to also let your name stand as alternate?
You know, I really like the organization, but I have a lot
Okay.
that I'm already involved in and hope to continue with, so yeah.
Okay. Anyone else who would like to sit as alternate on Marigold? I'll call a third time. Anyone else interested in letting their name stand as alternate for Marigold Library? Council can make an appointment.
I'll make the motion for approval that Wheatland County representation to the Marigold Library Committee consists of Councillor Bigger as an alternate for the 2022-2023 term.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to just question to administration. Should we make an appointment to MPC during this meeting?
No. So MPC consists of all council members, and chair and vice chair are appointed at the MPC.
Perfect. Thank you. We will move to, and with the public presentation committee, do we need an appointment here?
Yes. So at the
I know you said chair and vice chair.
It is a new bylaw, and administration did omit to actually put it on the agenda, so apologies for that. But the public presentation committee should be the bylaw states that the chair and vice chair will be appointed at the organizational meeting. So that should be done today.
But we don't need a motion to appoint council because that's within the bylaw.
Yes, that's correct. All of council sits on the public presentation committee.
Okay. So we just need to determine chair.
We had two motions in the package. One was for MPC, just basically to say that it was for all of council. I wonder if we need that.
I don't have that bylaw in front of me, but it wouldn't hurt. You can just make that appointment. It might be irrelevant just because of the bylaw itself. But you could actually make that, and if we need it, for clarity, yeah.
I'll make the motion that Wheatland County representation to the Wheatland County Municipal Planning Commission consist of all members of council for the 2022-2023 term in accordance with bylaw 2018-11.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We could move to the appointment to the Public Presentation Committee.
I'll move approval that the Wheatland County representation to the Wheatland County Public Presentation Committee consists of all members of council for the 2022-23 term in accordance to bylaw 2022-23.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll open nominations for chair of the Public Presentation Committee.
Chair is sort of the spokesperson, would run the meeting, would it not just be easier just to have the Reeve and Deputy Reeve as chair and vice chair? Just
We can do that, or we can mix it up. I'm happy to chair if council wishes, but I'm also happy to have somebody else.
Chair and vice chair to be the Reeve and Deputy Reeve.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to Rural Fire Associations. So historically, this is the councillor of the area, and there's a recommended motion on our screens.
I move that local councillors be appointed as the county representative to the Rural Fire Associations.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Move to Southern Alberta Energy from Waste Association.
I would like to let my name stand. I'm on the executive, and we're at a turning point coming here soon, so.
Is anybody else interested in sitting on Southern Alberta Energy from Waste? I'll call a third time. Is anybody interested in sitting on Southern Alberta Energy from Waste? Council can make an appointment.
I'll move approval that Wheatland County representation to the Southern Alberta Energy from Waste Association consist of Deputy Reeve Clausen for the 2022-23 term.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to the seed plants. I think this is also done a little bit like the rural fire. The counselor of the area is appointed. I will just raise to council that I guess I'll preface this with, I love the seed cleaning plant meetings, and I really, really do. It is an excellent opportunity to meet with our agricultural producers, and they do very important work. I guess I do just have a question of whether it's necessary for us to have a counselor appointed to the boards. They do run like based on a business model. There are outstanding loans with the county, but I think that there are possibly more efficient ways to I guess just ensure that payments historically have been made very well. It's never been questionable. And I just raise it for council consideration. I'm happy to continue serving if that's the direction of council, for us to continue serving on seed plants on the boards. But just want to raise it. I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts. I know Councillor Custer and Councillor Lowerson also have seed plants in their areas, so I would definitely want to hear your perspectives as well.
Never seen the incorporation papers, but I've been told when the seed plants were incorporated, municipalities had a stake in it, and it was part of. I don't know if you want to check that out. And we also are responsible for, through the Ag Service Board, they are inspected too. So there is some municipal governance. But like you say, they are very efficient in running their businesses. But it was part of, and if something was to happen to the seed plant, I'm not sure, but the county could have a stake in it. Never read it. It's just what I've been.
And I would say this is not a huge commitment, so I think it's something that we should keep going. It certainly is appreciated, as all of us went out to the Hazar Seed Cleaning Plant lunch. They definitely appreciate our involvement and stuff, and it's one meeting a year. It's not a big deal. I think we should continue.
I think after here, Councillor Kester, I think it'd be good to review those documents and see if it's still a requirement. What can be done? We can definitely appoint people today, that's no problem, but to review those documents and see if it's actually still that way, for clarity for everybody, and that could be done at an Ag Service meeting or something too.
That's a good idea.
I can see how it got to there, but I can think of other big industries in our area that we don't sit on their boards, oil and gas and things like that, so is it what needs to be, or? And I have no problem supporting it. It's just, if as long as it's effective.
So would it be more appropriate for council if just 1 second, if council were to have like a motion to direct to like investigate articles of association or bylaws or that type of thing? Would that be more appropriate in a council meeting versus the organizational meeting?
So council definitely can pass resolutions here, but there is actually one current resolution outstanding on the resolution tracker that is from the organizational meeting from 2021 that we just haven't been able to resolve. So either works, whatever, the will of council.
Councillor Lowerson and then Councillor Bigger.
I think it's important to remember too that seed cleaning plants are a cooperative. They're not a business. They're part of a community. So you can't class them the same as a big business.
Councillor Bigger.
Just gonna make a motion.
Okay.
Yeah, I can make the motion.
Yeah, I think Councillor Glossen's reasoning was good. I think if we make the appointments today, and then if council wants further exploration, we can. can either review that following the appointment, or we can bring it back. It's council's wishes.
I'll move that local councillors be appointed as the county's representative to the seed cleaning plants.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried.
Reeve, just a question from administration. We don't believe that council appointed an alternate to Sewa.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Just wondering if council would consider appointing an alternate in case Deputy Reeve Clausen cannot attend.
Yes, thank you for drawing that to our attention. Council's wishes.
I'd let my name stand as alternate.
Anyone else want to sit as alternate on Sewa? Call for a third time. Through acclamation, council could make an appointment.
I'll move that the approval that Wheatland County representation to the Southern Alberta Energy and Waste Association consist of the alternate as Councillor Eichert for the 2022-23 term.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We can move to Strathmore and District Ag Society Indoor Riding Arena Advisory Committee.
I believe I'm the member at large. I would let my name stand as although there hasn't been any meetings as of such on this, I'd still like to stay on.
Okay. Anybody else who's interested in sitting on this? I'll call a third time. Anybody else interested? Your acclamation, council can make an appointment.
Move that Wheatland County representation to the Strathmore and District Ag Society Indoor Riding Arena Advisory Committee consist of Councillor Eichert for the 2022-23 term.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. And an alternate?
I could let my name stand as alternate.
Is anybody else interested in serving as alternate? I'll call a third time. Through acclamation, council can make an appointment as alternate.
I'll approve that Councillor Clausen be appointed the alternate to the Strathmore District Ag Society Indoor Riding Arena Advisory Committee.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to Strathmore Wheatland Chamber of Commerce.
I would like to let my name stand for this.
Would anybody else out there like to serve on the Chamber of Commerce? I'll call a third time. Through acclamation, council can make an appointment.
Move that approval, Wheatland County representation to the Strathmore and Wheatland District Chamber of Commerce consist of Councillor Priest for the 2022-23 term.
Just for clarity, it's actually Strathmore Wheatland Chamber of Commerce. There's no and there's no district in it.
Right.
Just for clarity.
I read it the way it was.
I know, I see that there, yeah.
Administration will note the amendment.
Thank you.
This is, we do really appreciate the compilation of the contextual information. And it's good to make sure we have these. They do change at times, and that was a relatively recent change, so an appreciated change. So, any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. And an alternate.
I can sit as alternative. will be.
Okay. Anybody else interested in sitting as alternate? I'll call a third time. Council can make the appointment.
I move approval that Wheatland County representation for alternate representation to Strathmore Wheatland Chamber of Commerce consists of Councillor Bigger for the 2022-23 term.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Move to Strathmore Wheatland Addictions Team.
I'd also like to let my name stand for this one.
Anybody else who would like to sit on SWAT? Call a third time. Through acclamation, council can make the appointment.
I'll make the motion that Wheatland County representation to the Strathmore Wheatland Addictions Team consists of Councillor Laprise for the 2022-23 term.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. And an alternate?
I was the alternate last time, so I can let my name stand for that.
Awesome. Anyone else interested in sitting as alternate? I'll call a third time. By acclamation, council can make the appointment.
I'll move approval that Wheatland County alternate representation to Strathmore Wheatland Addictions Team consists of Councillor Laurison for the 2022-23 term.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Now we have WC Infinite Possibilities Business Collaboration on the committee's list. That was based on a resolution in 2020. I don't know if we have any thoughts on.
I have to apologize. Last year I didn't realize my name was on it for last year, but I didn't realize that there was a resolution to appoint Councillor Bigger. But anyways, I would be happy to nominate Councillor Bigger.
Just a note through administration, Councillor Larson, actually, he was prior to me, so we'll let Councillor Larson.
Councillor Larson?
Oh, I just wanted to mention that it's got an alternate Councillor Wilson, so we should probably remove that.
Yeah, we need to relook at this, and I guess just to question what it is.
So this
For my
was
memory.
This was the collaboration to host virtual meetings during the peaks of COVID. Administration did discuss this one and thought we would bring this forward to council this year, even though we did not hold any meetings last year. If there are no meetings held this year, we'll probably just make a recommendation to council to remove this from the appointment list, the organizational meeting. Doubtful that we'll hold another meeting, but we thought just in case we'll appoint for one more year, or recommend to council to appoint one more year, then potentially remove it in 2023.
I'd like to maybe review this too, because I've heard some things from other municipalities that they'd like to do some joint work with us. Maybe this could morph into that a little bit at some point in the future.
So this one specifically was for like members of the public to call in. If there is interest in forming groups through other municipalities, I guess it would be dependent on the municipalities in question. If it's a regional thing, we can do it through potentially the Wheatland Regional Partnership meetings or through an IDP or ICF, either an existing one or one to be implemented with the town. With Siksika, we can also reach out to them. We do the one resolution outstanding from the organizational meeting from 2021 was to enter into or begin work on an MOU, and I just know through various circumstances it has been delayed, just on both ends actually. So we just have still to, administration has to yet to approach them.
I like the business collaboration part, so I mean, with what's coming in the future, it's just something. But we have several other tools to work with that, so.
Yeah, and we can always look at different initiatives as well. This was specifically for those online calls. I would be like comfortable discontinuing this now.
It was during lockdowns.
Yeah, it was when we could not have like chamber events or like events in the community. It was a way to bring the business community together with the network of supports, both provincially, municipally, federally, to share challenges they were experiencing, to share supports that were either new supports or supports that were applicable. So
It was effective then. I can't see it being that effective right now.
yeah. But like, does administration feel strongly about making an appointment for another year?
No, administration does not feel strongly about it. We thought an appointment at the organizational meeting, if nothing happens during the year, then there's nothing that needs to be done. We just thought proactively appointing someone just in case might be good. We doubt it will be used, but
Okay. We can let it stand one more year. That's administration's recommendation. And then for sure, any future initiatives, we can look at those as they arise.
I think it was really effective for the time. Whether or not we appoint somebody today, we have the tool. We know we could shelve it and pull it out at any time and appoint somebody at council if we need.
Yeah, that's
If
true.
we go into, God forbid, that same stuff again.
It'll be more about mental health.
But we have a proven way of going there, so I think that's effective right in itself. Wouldn't take much to ramp it up again, I don't think.
Good point. So to clean this up, would we need to do anything with the outstanding resolution, or just now that that's not going, we could just drop it off the committee chart?
council most likely should just drop it off the committee chart, and then if council feels comfortable in the future, council may consider rescinding that resolution.
Do we want to?
What does that mean?
So there would be no motion required from council, and just move on to the next board.
Okay. We will move to Wheatland and adjacent district emergency medical services.
I'd be interested to going back on Adamsa.
Okay. Councillor Custer? Anybody else?
I would be too.
Councillor Laurson?
Is there two?
We need two for that one, correct?
Yeah, two and an alternate. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll sit. I'll like
You'd like your name stamped?
Yeah. Okay. See how it goes.
Anybody else? I'll call a third time. Might have already. Anybody else? We'll do by ballot, two appointments. Out of candidates Kester, Laurson, and Bigger.
So you would do a 1, 2, 3?
Just choose
Just one or two
two.
would work.
Yeah, or
Oh, I see. Yep. Okay, got it.
And then council has some ballots, so after council's done voting, I can just come collect them.
we'll just finish. Do alternate. Okay. All right.
Since I don't.
I know. Get your checkbook out.
If you do want to throw in a 20,
I used to always put the sticky tape on my fingers.
there a chance we could have a bathroom break?
If we can just do alternate for this, and then we'll take a 5-minute or 10-minute.
I left home at 8 o'clock.
You'd like to be home at 8?
No, I left home this morning at 8 o'clock and got here at, what was it, 10:45?
Oh my, construction. You didn't use one of the construction porta potties?
I tried to wait, but nothing's. They're not falling for it anymore.
How much longer is it expected to?
Well, they said November 15th, but I don't think so.
Beyond that.
Weather's been cooperating for sure.
Has it ever?
Yeah.
The pavers that are working on Highway 1 have these really weird, it's like this huge balloon, and it's blue on the top and white on the bottom, and it's a light at night, and so the light shine. I don't know, it's the most funkiest looking thing. It looks like it's a balloon. But it's
Interesting.
Yeah, at night you realize, oh, that's a light, and it's incredibly bright.
Okay, Council, so the results are in. So Councillor Larson received the majority of the votes, and then there was a tie between the last board representation between Councillor Bigger and Councillor Kester. So just vote
Between the two.
between the two for the final board member.
Sleep at night. No, just, yeah. Not that I'm not tired, I'm just not being able to sleep. So. It's not because I'm thinking of stuff, because I'm way too much space up there. It just bounces around. You know, when you're
got
in a really
fluffy
quiet
clouds in
room,
there.
you know, those, hear the sound, atoms bouncing off the wall. So that's sort of what my mind is like.
Okay, so through vote, Councillor Bigger received the majority of the votes.
Council can make an appointment by resolution.
I'll move approval that Wheatland County representation to the Wheatland and adjacent districts Emergency Medical Services Association consist of Councillor Laurson and Councillor Bigger, with an alternate of Councillor Kester for the 2022-23 term.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We also need an alternate for Woodhamza.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that my
Oh,
motion
sorry.
included.
Yeah, she included.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Oh, we've been doing alternate as separate, so we should probably,
Oh, sorry. There's two and an alternate.
So-
Shall I?
sorry, I was not paying
The
attention.
motion was stated that way. If council wishes to do a motion to reconsider, they may. However, council has been following that process of appointing an alternate through vote. However, the motion is passed unless council wants to do that.
If we don't mind doing it separately,
Sure.
so we would need a motion to reconsider,
Consider.
just to maintain consistency.
I move to reconsider the last motion.
Is it, should I pull the procedure? Is that the right?
Making you work, sorry.
No, that's, and I should have listened more closely. I'm just trying to maintain consistency. I'll just check our procedure bylaw.
Maybe just make a motion to rescind the last motion.
I think it is reconsider, and it must be moved by a counselor who voted with the prevailing side. And then we just vote on it, so you move to reconsider,
Yes.
and I think it said we don't debate. Debate must be contained. Any questions or discussion? If there is debate, we can check the bylaw. All in favor? Motion is carried. Now I will open up interest for alternate. Okay, Councillor Kester, anybody else? Call a third time, anybody else? By acclamation, we can make the appointment. Councillor Larson,
I'll move that Councillor Kester be appointed as the alternate for Wademsa.
any questions or discussion? All in favor? Did everybody vote? Motion is carried. Thank you.
Just a point to the chair as well. Because the motion was reconsidered, council will also have to appoint the board members again to whatever.
Oh, I'm so,
Yeah.
yes, okay. Councillor Larson?
Move that we appoint Councillor Larson and Councillor Bigger as members for Wademsa for the 2022-23.
Sure, you got it. Thank you. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Now we will take a break. Let's reconvene in about 5. Depending on which clock you're looking at, we'll just go 5 minutes.
You have been muted. To unmute yourself, press the star key twice.
We can call the meeting back to order.
Mute off.
We'll call the meeting back to order and move to WFCSS.
Well, I wouldn't mind sitting on this, continuing on it. It's one that I've just been on just for a short while, but right.
I enjoy it too.
Anybody else who would like to sit on WFCSS? Anyone else who would like to sit on WFCSS? I'll call a third time. But by ballot, we will do the same process, vote for 2 people for the board, and then we'll deal with the alternate following that. I believe we have 2 appointments.
Sorry. Oh. Too busy drinking coffee.
Oops.
Yes, through the majority of votes, Councillor Laprise and Bigger have been selected by council. Thank you.
Council can make a motion.
I'll move the approval that the Wheatland County representatives to the Wheatland Family and Community Support Services consist of Councillors Laprise and Councillor Bigger. Term of 2022 to 2023.
Questions or discussion? in favor? Motion is carried. Open the floor for alternate.
I'll let my name stand.
Councillor Kester. Is anybody else interested? A third time? Is anybody else interested? By application. Acclamation, we can make the appointment.
I'll move, oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, I'll move that Councillor Kester be appointed as the alternate for the WFCSS.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to Wheatland Housing Management Body. I believe we need 3 appointments and an alternate.
Let my name stand for that, please.
Councillor Kester,
I would as well.
Councillor Laverson,
I would as well.
Councillor Laprise, Councillor Bigger. Anybody else?
I'll let my name stand.
Councillor Eckert. Anybody else?
Yeah.
I'll call for a final time. So for this vote, we will choose the 3 board members. So if you can just vote for 3 out of the 5, not including Scott and myself.
Snow, well,
Thursday, Friday?
oh, more like Saturday, I thought. Oh, no. Rain. I think in Calgary they were talking about snow, but, so maybe the further. And now it's less than us.
I have no idea. I haven't got my roof finished on my barn yet.
Uh-oh.
No, I've got a water tank.
Did you see how quickly he answered it?
It was very quick. I'm surprised when people turn down help. That's just telling.
This is my baby.
No, that's fine. You stay home.
Can't rain inside the barn anymore.
Okay, so the majority of council voted to appoint Bigger, Laprise, and Eichert.
Right. We can have a motion to that effect.
I'll move approval that Wheatland County representation to the Wheatland Housing Management Body consists of Councillors Laprise, Bigger, and Eichert for the 2022-23 term.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Who would like to let their name stand for alternate?
Sorry?
For alternate, sorry.
I can let my name stand for alternate.
Would anyone else like to sit as alternate? Third time, would anybody else like to sit as alternate? By acclamation, we can make the appointment for alternate.
I'll move that my name stand for alternate.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to Wheatland Regional Corporation.
I'd like to put my name forward.
Councillor Larson.
I know there's been some concern with some of the members that sit on there, so I would let my name stand for the Wheatland Regional Corporation.
Anybody else?
Let my name stand, it's in my area.
I'd like let my name stand as well, please.
So we have Eichert, Lawson, Kester, Lowerson. Would anyone else like to let their name stand? Call a third time. Would anyone else let their name stand? So we will make two choices between Lowerson, Kester, Clausen, and Eichert. Thank you.
Wouldn't have to leave your call there, right? Well, yeah.
The majority of council has voted for Councillor Eichert and Deputy Reeve Clausen to sit on the Wheatland Regional Corporation. Thank you.
Motion to that effect.
I'll move approval of Wheatland County Representative representation to the Wheatland Regional Corporation to consist of the following councillors, Councillor Eichert and Councillor Clausen for the 2022-23 term.
Questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. For alternate for Wheatland Regional Corporation? Councillor Custer. I would also let my name stand for alternate. Anybody else? We'll call a second or a third and final time, call for nominations for alternate. I think some of us might be out of balance.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I have an extra.
I know. Makes sense.
We had a redistribution. We're good now. I'm good.
Oh, you're
Scott
good.
needs one, I think. Glenn and Rick, do you guys have ballots?
The majority of council voted for Reeve Link to be alternate for the WRC. Thank you.
Motion to that effect.
I'll make the motion for approval that Wheatland County representation of Wheatland Regional Corporation consist of Reeve Link as an alternate for the 2022-2023 term.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Move to Wheatland Regional Partnership Committee. I think we just have a motion just to appoint all of council.
I'll move approval that the Wheatland County representation to the Wheatland Regional Partnership Committee consist of all members of council for the 2022-23 term.
Any questions or discussion?
Are we allowed to go to the meetings then?
I think we have an outstanding matter that administration indicated they would follow up at our next council meeting. Is that my
yes, that's
understanding
correct.
correct? There's an outstanding legal matter. I think the previous council discussion and direction had been that we would not attend until that outstanding matter had been addressed. I think administration and legal can advise on next steps when we're able to discuss that with legal. We can address it at the next council meeting for sure. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried.
May I ask, is this the right time to ask for a committee to be added to our list? I'm thinking about the handy bus. But what's the process to do that?
You know what? We would need to do that. We should provide council some documentation prior to actually voting on it, just so we understand the time commitment required by a council member. It was removed from the committee list when
I think our appointee was removed.
Yeah, our appointee was removed by the handy bus. I think all municipal appointees were removed at one point. That is a good point. I definitely need to reach out to the handy bus president and just understand if there's a new voting structure. Council should make a resolution for administration to follow through on that.
So I'd like to do that. I'll make a motion to direct administration to investigate the possibility of appointing a councillor to the handy bus board.
All right. It's just bringing information
Just
back.
bringing information. Yeah.
Just bringing information back to council. So I think you're good. It's your determination. Any questions or discussion? Yeah, it's an excellent idea to have that brought back. Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to 2.5.
You got a question?
Yes, of course.
Just wondering, is there any explanation why I did not get any committees? I'm an alternate on two.
I guess all that can be said is that it's been a democratic process for each board and committee appointment. It's been consistent and council's made the determinations.
I could say the same thing, like it is a democratic process. It's very fair. There was a bunch on the front that some people didn't put their name up for, so I don't know.
We'll move to 2.5, Intermunicipal Development Plan and Intermunicipal Collaboration Framework, Committee Appointments. Starting on page 60 of the organizational meeting package.
Just to note to all of council that the only significant change in this is that council should appoint, two councillors and an alternate to the town of Strathmore, if council chooses to follow the same process, and that is just committee work. The bylaws for the IDP and ICF must come forward to council for approval. And besides that, we just left the divisional, all the council representations the same in all the other IDPs and ICFs.
And I think we discussed this at our first organizational meeting of this term, but those ICFs and IDPs, administration had drafted recommendations way back when, sort of based on divisions that were proximal to the neighboring municipalities. So that was how we had done it in the past, just for consideration when we're determining the Strathmore IDP/ICF committee. The administration does have two recommended resolutions, one regarding the Strathmore and then one just accepting the other document as presented, and I'm assuming that would validate the appointments by division as presented, so, or as historically appointed. Council's wishes.
Sorry, clarification, are we putting names forward here, or is it
We go by division.
also will they touch it?
That's how it has been done. We can do the same thing with Strathmore, or we can look at an alternative rationale. It's at council's discretion. Yeah, so the first recommendation from administration is approval for Wheatland County excuse me, representation to the IDP/ICF committee with the town of Strathmore to consist of councillors from the following divisions. So we just need to determine which divisions.
Does Division 2 border Strathmore?
No.
Does not.
Division 5 sort of is in between Strathmore and Division 2. Division 5 has a little strip even on the eastern side. Division 4 borders on the...
Just a little bit on the eastern side, and then
Oh, you come around to the... Oh, right, you come around to the east, sorry. And south and west, and then Division, on the north.
I was thinking of making a motion about having the two representatives plus the Reeve be there as well. Would that be acceptable? Because the mayor will probably be there as for their representation as well as two councillors. I could see it being that way. You're ex officio or whatever they say, allowed to sit on any meeting, but I'd like to make it.
We can structure it however we would like.
So I'll make a motion for approval of Wheatland County representation to the IDP ICF committee to the town of Strathmore consists of councillors from Division 4, Division 5, and the Reeve of Wheatland County.
Questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is approved. I wonder if we should add an alternate. I don't know if administration has a recommendation or if 3 would suffice.
Council most likely should appoint an alternate just in case one of the council members cannot attend. It's just consistent with all the other IDP ICF committees.
I'll nominate Councillor Bigger as an alternate. You let your name stand.
Would anyone else like to sit as alternate? I'll call a third time. I'm going to make a motion as such.
We'll make a motion that the Wheatland County representative, the ICPS, alternate be Councillor Bigger.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. And then we just need the second resolution on page 60, accepting the IDP and ICF document with the other appointments.
I'll move that council accepts the intermunicipal development plan and intermunicipal collaboration framework document as presented.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to 2.6. Subdivision and Development Appeal Board member appointments. There's a recommendation at the top of page 64.
I'll make the motion that council approve the appointment for the following individuals to the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board for a 3-year term expiring October 31st, 2025. Elaine Degg and Terry Tower.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to 2.7, Community Enhancement Regional Board appointments.
I'll move that council appoint the following individuals to the Community Enhancement Regional Board. Robin Harms as the Council Division 1 representative for a term commencing November 1st, 2022 and expiring October 31st, 2024. Margot Comstock as the Council Division 2 representative. Marcy Field as Council Division 3 representative. Maxine Bartolin as Council Division 5 representative. Randall Melcher as Council Division 6 representative, and Kim Sandham as Council 7 representative for the same term.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll move to, and just before we move on, I do just want to thank all of the members who serve on our Subdivision and Development Appeal Board, as well as our Community Enhancement Regional Board. The work that they do for the county is critical, and I do appreciate their service on both of those boards. So just want to recognize that service.
Just a quick question. I believe they're still looking for nominations for Division 4. Is that correct? I believe there was a name put forward. I just don't know if that got through to the cycle yet.
Yes, we are still looking for a representative from Division 4.
Okay, thank you.
We will move to 2.8, Drumheller Area Health Foundation member at large.
So this was presented to council at the August 16th meeting, and then it was just advised to be brought back to the organizational meeting for council discussion. At that time, administration did make a recommendation to appoint Erica Reynolds. She's a town of Strathmore resident to represent Wheatland County. We didn't get any applications besides Ms. Reynolds, and that was our recommendation. Thank you.
I move that council appoint Erica Reynolds as a Wheatland County Member at Large for the Drumheller Area Health Foundation.
Any questions or discussion? I guess I'll just reiterate the concerns that I expressed last time. I'm just with having a town of Strathmore resident representing, and then further just I deeply value the work that Drumheller and Area Health Foundation does, and the work that they do to supplement and sort of increase the level of medical service that I know does serve ratepayers in Wheatland County. But my preference remains that we not necessarily appoint a Wheatland councillor or a representative from outside of our municipality for this board. I know that there are Strathmore has a hospital foundation as well that has volunteer board members. I believe some from the county. When I looked, I didn't know if the list is definitely up to date. But again, just not sure on the sort of the necessity or return on investment. We have sort of reduced the number of boards and committees that we sit on to try and create efficiencies for the county. This list has gotten a little bit shorter than it was historically, and so recognizing that we do have responsibilities to serve on many of the boards that we sit on. Those are just obviously my own personal thoughts. Deputy Reeve Clausen.
Similar concerns, and it's just that are we just trying to fill a seat? When I look at this, I remember the history of this coming forward. We always had somebody that was unofficially there, then it was brought forward to kind of officially put somebody there, and then it's changed hands a few times. But is it effective? I defer to the area councillor to see, because it greatly affects your area. So
it does, and I actually was at one meeting, and I would certainly sit on it, and if it's something that council doesn't want to pay remuneration for, that's fine too. I just I struggle with how someone from Strathmore is going to have the right kind of input into something that happens in Drumheller, whereas I mean there's a big chunk of Division 7 that uses Drumheller as their primary care place. Mm-hmm. So that would be kind of my position on it.
Happy to withdraw my motion if hearing the sentiment around the room. I do that. I also do want to recognize Mary Marshman's service. She is serving as well as a representative of the county in a volunteer capacity, and that is deeply, deeply appreciated. The work that this board does is very, very important, and the work that the foundation does, it does augment health services, and they do significant fundraising. I know I'll be looking just for ways to support that personally. They do provide care for sure to a significant number of residents, even broadly, like the hospital does, and physicians in Drumheller as well as in Strathmore and other areas outside of the county as well. Does administration recommend any motion on this if there's not a preferred action at this point?
If there is no preferred action, then none. If there's preferred action to appoint a councillor without remuneration, that also should be a resolution by council. If council wishes to appoint a council member with remuneration, that should also be appointed as well. Thank you.
And it's also possible, we can sit on boards outside of our official council role, without reporting to council or
that is correct.
Representing a council position, just serving as community members. Council, and totally open to whatever council's wishes are.
I think I heard from Councillor Larson that he would probably prefer to sit on there, and remuneration wasn't an issue, so.
If that's council's wishes, I can do remuneration. If they don't want, I'll sit on it.
For myself, I could see if we had somebody representing Strathmore at Strathmore's level, which we don't, then we'd be a balance, but right now, it's not that way, so I would just see if...
Well, and this really, I mean, it's very much, it's a foundation like that is fundraising for like supplemental health. I'm not sure that we need to convey like a county perspective on it per se. At times there's intersections with health, like I know we've been hearing about healthcare practitioner like recruitment and retention and that type of thing, but I think that's a little bit outside of this. My preference would be like if somebody wanted to serve on it as an individual outside of their council capacity, but I don't feel like we necessarily have like a Wheatland County position to take officially as a councillor. Yeah, it would be different too, like if it, and depending on where things go provincially, we could get into like local boards again or that type of thing where there are operational decisions that are like directly potentially impacting healthcare. Obviously, we're going to need to be aware of where things go in terms of jurisdiction and that type of thing. At this point, it's outside of our jurisdiction for the most part, beyond some of the provincial programs around recruitment and retention. And then obviously, there's always the ability to supplement through fundraising.
I think we should just leave it up to the local area councillor if he so chooses to attend. That's in his choice, and then
Or any community, or any councillor, like
and if there's
from
something
the
that
community.
might affect the county, obviously, as a board we can discuss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just, I know Jackie Watts sits on this from
Starland County, yeah.
But yeah, if we're just going to do, if I'm going to do this as a member of the public, then I don't need council's approval to do anything.
That's right.
They'll sit on it.
Yeah.
I'll talk to them and see what they want to do.
And it could evolve at some point in the future to something else too, right? It's,
Yeah, for sure. Especially like there have been comments from the Premier that there may be a switch to more like localized or regional healthcare models, and so we will need to stay abreast of that, but handle that as it evolves. Given that discussion then, if there's no objection, we can move to 2.9, upcoming conferences and conventions. The administration has a recommendation on page 73 to approve attendance at the RMA conventions. Council's wishes.
I'll move approval for Wheatland County Council to attend the 2023 Rural Municipalities of Alberta Spring and Fall Conventions, Edmonton.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Administration also has information on FCM on page 76. Just for background, Council had approved for me to attend FCM in Regina this year, and it ended up that RMA needed a representative to attend, so they did pay for my attendance, and obviously I gathered information for Wheatland County as well, but there was no cost to the county for my attendance. I would ask for council consideration for me to attend FCM this year. We typically, historically, have sort of looked at 3 councillors per year, depending on how many people are able to, based on other commitments and also just interest. We could look at approval today, and I know we've also had discussions sort of about reviewing the agenda and that type of thing prior to registration, so that if it, doesn't look like it's going to be relevant or we can't bring back good information, we always have that opportunity to simply not register as well.
I'd like to see a report back from staff to basically show how much grants we've got versus how much we spent for attending this. Flights and accommodations and things like that, to see, just to be able to say to the public it's cost effective. And then it would give me a better decision whether or not I want to put somebody on here.
And I think I fully support that. I think it's a great idea. Keeping in mind as well that there is the advocacy arm of FCM, similar to RMA, but advocacy to the federal government. Although RMA is also, has developed a federal advocacy strategy as well. So we are getting both provincial and federal advocacy from RMA. But there are further issues and obviously relationships that FCM board has that we have not developed yet at this point.
Would I have to make a motion to that for staff?
Yeah, it would be a good idea.
That beforehand?
Yeah, you can start with that.
I'd like to make the motion that to have staff review the expenses and grants received from FCM. How long have we been there? 10 years at FCM?
They can go back and look.
Yeah, we'd have to take a look.
Since we've attended, because I know it hasn't been a forever thing, and at the next council meeting, or possibly the one after, but prior to making a decision on if we will attend the convention.
That's fair. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We can move to provincial ASB on page 79. Historically, ASB members have had the option to attend either the Provincial Ag Services Board Conference or Farm Tech. And that's included in the recommendation from administration.
I'll move that council approve the attendance of Agricultural Service Board members and administration to one of the following: the 2013 Provincial
2023.
Provincial Agricultural Service Board Conference, which is January 7th to 19th in Grand Prairie, or the 2023 Crossroad Convention Farm Tech, which is in Edmonton on January 24th and 25th, 2023.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. And then just for council's information, administration has included a document with links to multiple resources for us, so we can just use that as information. I don't think any action is required. Okay. That brings us to the conclusion of our organizational meeting agenda. We will adjourn. You guys need oh, did I miss
Steve
something?
Link, would it be possible for council to consider a motion to
just for the secret ballots.
Yes.
Prior to the closing of the agenda, I'd like to make a motion on the floor to destroy all the ballots in all the elections of positions. Secret ballots.
Because that's just the secret ballots.
Secret ballots, yes.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Now that brings us to the conclusion of our agenda. We will adjourn the organizational meeting. Do you guys need a 2-minute break, or are you ready to start regular council? Does administration need a moment? Oh, sure. Let's just take a 2-minute break.